All right. Well, hello, good afternoon, and welcome to our webinar. My name is Bobby Haggard, and I'm one of the consultants here at TrinSoft. I'm excited for today's webinar as we are introducing our TrinSoft Power BI report packs. As we all know, Power BI is an incredibly powerful reporting tool. However, sometimes knowing what to report, where to get it, how to build those reports can be a challenge for end users. And that's exactly why our team has gone out and created these Power BI report packs. We're trying to take some of that stress, some of that burden, that pressure off of building those, and so that the end users can instead focus on making the best decisions based on the data that's in these reports. So on our call today, we will quickly review just a couple of these new report packs, which we think will really help to unlock some of your Dynamics data within Microsoft Dynamics. Before we jump in, a couple of housekeeping notes to get started. First, we have gone ahead and muted all the phones to try and keep down some of the background noise. So if you have a question, which we absolutely encourage, please drop that into the Q&A feature of the Zoom webinar tool. Our team will be monitoring that, and we'll be happy to answer that. We may look to answer it as a follow-up during the Q&A session, or if it's a specific request that's specific to your entity, your set of reports, it may be something that we answer as a follow-up kind of offline with you guys. And then secondly, if you'd like a copy of the presentation slides or the video recording, once it's available, we'll be sure to send that out. Just drop your email into the Q&A. We'll know exactly what that means, and we'll be sure to get that sent your way. All right, now that all the housekeeping stuff is out of the way, I do see a good mix of attendees on this list between current clients and potential clients. So if you don't mind, I'm actually going to start with a quick introduction as to who we are as TrinSoft for those of our clients or those of our future clients who may not know exactly who we are. So let's jump right in here.
You can make your business processes simpler and stronger, your people more proactive and more productive. You can make today's opportunity into tomorrow's success with TrinSoft. Business people solving business challenges. TrinSoft has the experience that sets us apart. We're CPAs, MBAs, and software developers who come from the business world, award-winning software providers with practical knowledge about your industry. We can bring a complete cloud solution direct to you, one solution for your entire business. And after more than 25 years of Microsoft knowledge, we're a gold-certified Microsoft ERP partner with proven mastery of Microsoft Dynamics, ready to unlock all it can do for you. That means end-to-end ERP, hosted seamlessly in the cloud. It means customization and integration to help automate and streamline your business processes, and customer dashboards and reporting to give you real-time information and intelligence to guide your decisions. TrinSoft puts the latest technology into custom solutions tailored to your industry, your company, your business needs. It's time to find out just how much we can do for you at TrinSoft.
All right, so as the video shared, at TrinSoft, we're business people who come from a diverse business background, and we're used to solving unique business needs for all types of organizations. So we've been around and we've been doing this for a while. We were founded in 1996, and we've since achieved the highest level of Microsoft certification available, being recognized as a gold certified Microsoft ERP partner. We have also been recognized by Accounting Today as one of the top 100 VAR or value-added resellers within the space. And currently we have around 200 or so active clients in 17, 18 states. We do consider ourselves experts on Microsoft's business platform, and we do all things related to ERP installations, project management, report assistance, upgrades, customizations, help desk support, and more. In addition, we have some clients who are Power BI only clients with us, meaning we support their reporting needs and we help write reports and visuals, and they use some other partner or even a completely different ERP system other than Microsoft related products. Additionally, I'd like to point out here, we have a sister company, TrinDocs, which has developed, it's a document management and software company that can handle all of your accounts payable, automation needs, document workflow, image capture, scanning, storage, and more. And the TrinDocs team also has a set of Power BI reports that you can utilize as well. All right, so as I mentioned at the beginning of this webinar, our team is excited to share these new reporting packs. We've locked our team of developers and consultants in their offices for weeks and months on end while they built and developed and designed these report packs. So as you can see here, our team has built these report packs around the various modules of Business Central. Within each report pack, there are multiple reports and dashboards included, which will provide the end user some great insights into your data, which will allow for quicker decision making to help drive growth, cost savings, and much, much more. Now, it's important to note that these report packs are just the beginning. If your team needs additional dashboards or data insights or changes or updates, our team can certainly help to design and modify your reports as needed. All right, so that's a quick introduction. I'll be handing things over to Colin Sheehan to lead us through a quick introduction to these Power BI report packs. Colin Sheehan wears a couple different hats here for us at TrinSoft. Colin is both a developer and a consultant for Business Central and Power BI solutions. Colin is from Louisville, Kentucky, and has received his undergraduate degree from the University of Kentucky and his master's degree from the University of Louisville. Colin, I'll let you take it away.
Thank you, Bobby, and hello to everyone. My name is Colin Sheehan, and I am a developer and consultant here at TrinSoft, and I'm very excited to show you what we have been working on over here for the past couple of months. A loose outline on this presentation is will be me showing a few sample report packs, including sales, inventory, accounts payable, accounts receivable, and just one financial statement being the income statement. And the sample data for these reports is provided by Business Central and their generic data configuration packages for a non-existent office furniture manufacturer called Cronus, which I have imported to Power BI with OData URLs found on the Business Central Web Services page. And that's also why we will be using the Business Central color scheme and their logo. So for those of you who are not too familiar with Power BI, it's a Microsoft program and a very powerful tool for data aggregation and visualizing and displaying data. And it can provide insights that may otherwise not be evident in other Microsoft tools like Excel, PowerPoint, or even SQL. And if you'd like to know more about Power BI, we do have some previous webinars that we'd be happy to send your way, and Microsoft also has some great documentation. So without further ado, let's get into these report packs, and we will begin with the sales report pack. And on the first page, the overview page of the sales report pack, I want to draw your attention first to the two visuals up here, which are the year-to-date sales and the last year sales. And this will compare the year-over-year sales at a given date, and the default for this is going to be the current date unless otherwise specified by this visual next to it, which is a date range filter. And you can slide the line to elongate or shorten it to give you a custom date range. Next to and under this, we have the sales amount by month and year. And this is a line graph that shows an instant year-over-year comparison by month. And you can see the exact amount just by hovering anywhere in the visual. As you can see on here, we are doing a little bit better. This company is doing a little bit better in January than this year than it was compared to last year. And then over here on the right, we have our top 10 items by sales. And this is a leaderboard of sorts, showing what items are your best sellers by dollar amount. And this can also be shown in other ways, like by units or quantity. And it can also be adjusted by this date range slider right here. And so it's great to see the sales you've made, but we also want to make sure those items are being delivered to the customer. So this visual down here, the invoice not shipped table, will show what customers are still waiting for their shipments. And the document number is actually linked to Business Central itself. So you can have some more information on that. And as you can see, the URL here for Business Central. And then this last visual down here is the view sales by. And this is a great visual that shows some advanced capabilities of Power BI. And a common mistake that I see developers making is trying to put as many visuals on a page as possible, which leads to a report looking too busy and difficult to read. But with modeling parameters, you can use just one visual to show data in multiple ways. So here, just by cycling through these buttons, we can see sales amounts by a customer, by an item, or even by the salesperson responsible for the sale. And all of these points are drill through capable to other pages. And more on those later, but we are going to start with the salesperson overview. So you just right click down to drill through to the salesperson overview. Now this is filtered on just one person, so we'll have the name displayed up here. And then I want to show you the salesperson drop-down slicer, which is right here. And it shows all right now, but we are just filtered down on one person. And this will give you a similar ability to the drill through, just to show one salesperson. And next is the salesperson leaderboard, because a little friendly competition never hurt anyone in sales. And it shows how an individual salesperson is doing and how they're performing compared to other salespersons. And the leaderboard can also be customized by year-to-date sales, last year-to-date, and sales year-over-year rankings, if you want to get a couple extra views on that. And then we have the item sales detail table, which shows each individual item, when it was sold, how much was sold, how many items were sold, and who was responsible for that sale. And next to that, in the bottom right, is the item sales by salesperson, which is a complement to the item sales detail, and shows a consolidated high-level view of the item sales table by clicking on a bar. We can actually refine that table down to just one item, and in this case, just the Athens desk. And then above that, we have the customer count by salesperson. And when we're showing more salespeople, if you just click directly into the salesperson overview without drilling through, we'll have more salespeople on here, and we'll show a nice pie chart. And in this case, we just have the one person who is servicing 214 clients. And next to that, just like the invoice not shipped visual on the last page, you also want to see what hasn't shipped. But what about the other way? So we want to see who hasn't paid you for the sales you've made. And the open accounts receivable by salesperson bar graph shows how much the company is owed and who is responsible for that action item. So the next page we're going to look at is the margin page. And we've seen a lot of data about sales and how much revenue the company is bringing in, but what about the amount that the company is actually making on those sales, or what is the margin on each item sold? So first we have slicers over here for one being the custom date range slider, and then also we have a drop down for item category. And so this is a office furniture manufacturer, so of course we have chair, miscellaneous, and table. Then we have some views for margin percentage and individual views by salesperson, item category code, and the customer. And by clicking on any of these, it will update the margin detail in the bottom right corner, which offers a little more insight on the items sold, the sales themselves, the cost to the company, and information on the margins on each sale. So we've looked at a lot of high-level sales information, but not a lot of the finer details about a specific item. And we can do this with the help of a drill through to the item detail page. And all of these items visuals, all of the visuals having to do with an item, each of the 3 pages covered are enabled to do so. So we can do it on this one, just see the right-click to drill through. We go back to the overview, switch our view here on View Sales By, and right-click to drill through to the item detail. So here we see some additional information about the particular item, like sales by location, amount and quantity by month, the total amount and quantity, as well as filters for a salesperson and your customer. And all of these things could be critical to identifying trends in your data and guide your next sales campaign. So lastly, on this page, there is a blurry button here in the bottom right corner telling you to select an invoice. And what this actually is a button that is currently disabled, and once we click on a particular record, it then activates, and we can go to becomes a drill through to the customer also bought page, which is similar to what we see on sites like Amazon. And this page is important because upselling is always important, and this page can help in making the right offer. So in this case, we see what the Canon Group has already bought, and the frequency with which they bought those items, when they last reordered it, and what the margin was on that item. So we've looked at the sales we've made, but what about what we have still available to sell? And that'll bring us to our second report pack that we want to show today, and that is the inventory report pack. And we'll start with what we currently have in stock or our inventory on hand. This will be like the overview page. And the first visual I want to draw your attention to is the inventory by item and vendor visual. And this is another multi-visual where you can see exactly how much inventory you have based on a specific item or which of the vendors you bought them from. And the vendor part of this visual is drill-through capable, but we will come back to that later. And next is the average days held. So this visual plots how long your current inventory has been held and how much it costs the company. And this will give some possible insights on what items you're having trouble selling, if inventory that is more expensive, is harder to move, etc. If you click on an individual data point, the rest of the page will update for more detail. So we'll click on this one that looks like we're having a pretty difficult time selling, which is the Mexico swivel chair, and you'll see the rest of the page updates. And now we'll look at the inventory detail at the bottom now, and this shows details on each item, how much it costs the company, and the valuation of the items. And lastly, we have a couple cards here in the bottom right. This shows some overall information, which is the total inventory valuation and the average amount of days it takes to sell an item once it's brought into the company, or your average item inventory turnover. So next, the next page I want to show you all is the incoming items report. And first, I want to point out the custom date range slider and the drop-down filters for the item category and for individual vendors that are available for a more unique view. And again, we have another multi-visual to show the quantity purchased by either item or vendor, and this vendor is also drill-through capable. And next to that, we have our purchases or our spend over time display. And we can see the exact month-over-month comparison by hovering anywhere on the graph. So you can see this year we spent significantly less on inventory. And at the bottom of the page, the table shows a detailed list of every purchase of inventory that has been made by the company. And this includes the item, the vendor it was bought from, the cost and quantity, and if all of the order has been received. So this is what comes in, but what about what goes out? And that'll bring us to the outgoing items. And this will be relatively similar to sales, but not exactly. This report will show a little bit more detail about the status of item shipping or delivery. So first we have our custom date range sliders and our drop down for item category and invoice status. And this filter will show let us know which sales are overdue and which ones were delivered on time or not delivered but still within the agreed upon delivery terms. And so directly under that is our sales invoice status by days to ship. And like our average days held chart from the last page, this gives some insight onto which invoices is having trouble fulfilling, whether it be large orders or specific items. And then going from right to left, we have another multi-visual for sales, both by items outgoing and to which customer they're headed. And then sales over time, we can see the month-over-month comparison just by hovering. So again, this is right from the sales report pack, and we see that we were doing a lot better in 2022 than we were in 2021. And now I want to go back to the vendor drill-through from earlier. When we buy buy goods from a particular vendor, we want to make sure that that vendor is reliable, prompt, and delivering the correct items. And we can track this with our vendor scorecard. So let's drill through on a vendor. In this case, it's going to be the Service Electronics Limited. And so first we see our invoice count over time, and this will help contextualize how often the vendor is used. And then we have these 4 rings at the bottom displaying scores out of 10. So first we have the success rate, which is a percentage of closed orders that the company has placed that has successfully been delivered on time or not. And so this is really just, is the company canceling on us ever? And then we have the as ordered percentage score, which refers to the correctness of what was ordered. So does the vendor give us exactly what we order without error or substitution? In this case, the vendor does. And then next we have the percent ordered amount delivered. So of our open orders, how much has been successfully delivered? And we see 85.52% of the goods that we've ordered have arrived. And then the last of the scores is arguably the most important, and this is the on-time delivery rate. So this shows how many orders the vendor has delivered to the company within the agreed upon time constraints or your delivery terms. And this vendor does so about 91.36% of the time. So with perfect scores in success rate and as ordered percentage, and high scores in the percent ordered amount delivered and on-time delivery rates, this vendor has a vendor score of 9.42 out of 10, showing that they are a relatively reliable vendor. So this has been the inventory report pack, and next one I'd like to show is more of a turn to the accounting side, and that is with the accounts payable report pack. And first things first on the accounts payable report pack, let's look at the accounts payable overview. And the AP overview can show us a couple things like how much we owe, how many invoices we currently have outstanding, but really it gives us a great indication of the overall financial health of the company. And as we see from this dashboard, the company seems to have a pretty good handle on their finances. And to get into these visuals, first we have a card displaying the number of invoices the company currently has open, and these aren't necessarily overdue invoices, but the lower the better. And we'll get into the overdue invoices later. And under that is the invoice amount by month and year. And if you remember from other graphs like this, hovering anywhere will give you the month-over-month comparison with the exact numbers. And then next to that, we have total payments that have been made to a vendor. And if you hover over these columns, you can see how many payments have been made, and you will see that it is also drill-through capable. And we'll come back to that in a second. Above that is my favorite visual in this report, and that is the aged accounts payable chart. And this shows the open accounts payable amount by each vendor and has some additional information called the days since range, which is functioning as a legend. And this refers to the day that the invoice was received versus the end date of this data set in this case. With other reports, it'll be a today function. But the ranges are less than 30 days, 30 to 59 days, 60 to 89 days, and 90 plus days. And by hovering over these bars, you can see even more information, like the amount by the certain range, open invoices by range, and average number of days outstanding. And again, you can drill through on this vendor, which takes us to the invoice detail page. But first, we are going to look at the vendor detail. And so we have first on the vendor detail page a vendor drop-down slicer that gives us similar functionality to a drill through. And when we have then we have more filters like a date range slider, a button slider or button slicers with invoice status and whether or not an invoice is open. So under the filters, there is the full display name of the vendor and facts about the accounts payable pertaining to that vendor, like the payment terms and payment count. But now we're going to skip to the bottom right hand of the page, and that's your on-time versus overdue scatter plot. Like the visuals we've seen today, this gives us more insight on which visuals we're having trouble with and what our pain points are. And above that is the days to close versus payment terms. And the standard payment terms for this vendor is the current month, but individual invoices sometimes have a different due date specified with this data set. So it looks like March has some overdue invoices, and we can click on that specific month, that data point up here, and it will update the detail table in the bottom left so we can see which invoices are overdue, and we can even drill through for more details. So let's drill through on this vendor to the invoice detail page. So of course we have the name of the vendor we drilled through to, and also a collection of cards up here on the right saying if the invoice is closed, whether or not it was paid on time, if we're still in the range of being on time, and then we have the document number, which is the first one in this case until we update the vendor table down here, and this is the total invoice amount for the page. So by clicking on the first record, we see some additional information revealed, like at a glance we can see the status and how much we actually owe. And then lastly, I want to draw your attention to this bar graph right here, or column graph, which is an invoice amounts and payments graph. And we can see which months are not paid in full and which ones have outstanding balances. And obviously the months in good standing will have a similar amount of invoice amounts to payments made. So we can just see this one is in March is the one we don't have any payments on. So this has been the accounts payable report pack. Let's look at its counterpart, which is accounts receivable. So full disclosure before we start on the accounts receivable report pack, you're going to see a couple of similarities between this report, both look and feel, with the accounts payable report pack, mainly in the visuals, which although this is focused on the customers instead of the vendor. And also you'll see some similarities between this report and the sales report pack in terms of the data, but this report will be more focused on the accounting side, customers and invoices, and not so much on the items like the sales report was. So on the accounts receivable overview, we have our comprehensive dashboard, and we see the number of outstanding invoices the company has yet to receive payment for, the accounts receivable amounts with the month-over-month comparisons, the total payments from customers, and our open accounts receivable invoices by vendor, and our date ranges. So the aged accounts receivable gives us a good view of which customers are promptly paying the company. And with this, we see that the top customer owes a decent amount of money to this company, and it is starting to become more and more outdated. So this would be a very good candidate to use for a user to investigate further on the customer detail page. So let's go there now. And we see this is already on the customer. So on this page, we have the customer drop-down filter, and then our custom date range slider and filters for whether an invoice is open and for whether or not it is on time. Then we see a card under the filters for the customer we selected, and some additional accounts receivable customer specific facts, including the salesperson that's responsible for overseeing that client. So again, similar to what we see on the vendor detail in the AP report. Then I want to draw your attention to the two scatter plots on the right of the page. The top visual shows the accounts receivable by days and the amount of the invoice. And the bottom visual shows the on-time versus overdue invoices by the same parameters. And by clicking on any of these data points, we can refine the customer detail table for more information. And all of these records are drill-through capable to the invoice detail page. Now to look more into a customer that seems to be having a tough time paying the company, let's filter the page on the overdue invoices. Then we can see that we can drill through to the invoice page. So this will show all the invoices and the customer they belong to, as well as some additional important callouts highlighted in the top right. All the invoices for this customer and its corresponding payments and some other pertinent facts can be found in the invoice detail table, and I want to draw your attention to the invoice amounts and payments graph. So the accounts receivable visual on the overview page tells us some basic information, but this graphic can help us pinpoint exactly when the invoices were not collected on, and if there are any trends emerging, and if any further actions are warranted. We can see on this that as soon as we got to 2020, that's when the customer started to have a harder time with making payments on time, and it's gotten worse and worse over the year. So we have seen several reports regarding financial events, the comings and goings of items, and some detailed transactions. But the next and final report I'll be presenting today is on much higher level financials with the income statement. So the income statement overview shows a couple of things. And first, I'd like to point out the category slicer buttons for cost of goods sold, expense, and income. These will most usefully update the account overview table at the bottom. And then we have the custom date slider for year-to-date comparisons in the KPI visuals below. And KPI stands for Key Performance Indicator, and we have 3 of them here showing income year-to-date compared to income last year for the same period, and the same comparisons for cost of goods sold so far this year and gross profit so far this year. As evident by these KPIs, the company is making more in revenue, spending a little more in cost of goods sold, which makes sense if they're selling more, and making a higher gross profit. And then on the right, we have a basic income statement, which can be adjusted for a particular time frame with the date slider. complete with gross profit and net income percentages here at the bottom. And then in the account overview detail, you'll notice that this table is a little different than the ones we've seen previously, and that's because it is not a table, it is a matrix, which allows us to show hierarchy. And we can choose to show more or less of the GL account numbers if we want, and in the matrix we have some the GL account listed that would make up the income statement with its category designation, the subcategory, the account number and name, and the current balance at this date. So the last part of this page I'd like to show are the two buttons in the bottom right. And these again are the drill throughs that are activated when a record in the account overview table is selected. So let's take a look at the income product sales account, and this button updates to the category, to the account it belongs to, and this one being income and the specific account number. So, but we're going to do account category first. So we'll control click. And so of course we're looking at income, which is the income category, which can be broken down into smaller subcategories, which is the first slicer that it'll allow us to do. And then we also have our dimension slicer next to it. Then we have our custom date slider as always. And then we have below that our bar graph showing the amount by subcategory. It's showing that broken down view that makes up the total. Then we have our month over month and year over year line graph, where you can hover for exact numbers or refer to the account detail by subcategory at the bottom. And with all drill throughs on this page, you can go back to the page from which you came using control click on the back button here at the top, and that'll take you back to the home page or the page you came from. And then let's look at the GL account itself. So we're going to click back on the income product sales and then go over here to the 40200. And so now we're looking at the GL account itself. And first we have our sliders at the top. Then we have on the left our account facts showing the name, number, some account information as well as the balance. And this is a revenue account, so we're going to have mostly credits. And then we have our year-to-date key performance indicator and our year-over-year balance comparisons. It's right here, and of course you can hover on that. And then finally we have the account detail table showing every invoice that was hit in this particular account. So that brings us to the end of the demonstration, and I really hope you enjoyed the reports, and I very much appreciate each of you being here today. We do have some additional reports available that we could not get into today, which are report packs for the balance sheet, system management and security, fixed assets, and we have some reports for our PHT Plus customers as well as our Prod Plus customers. And thank you again. I hope to talk to you again soon. We'll be here to answer any questions you may have. And with that, I will turn it back over to Bobby.
Awesome. Thank you, Colin. It was a great overview and insights into these new TrinSoft Power BI report packs. While we have Colin on here with us, this is a great time to ask any questions that you may have, any questions that may have come through the Q&A. So let's take a look here. So let me dive in here. Let's see. There's a question out here asking if these report packs are available for NAV 2017. So Colin, I believe these are intended right now for Business Central in the cloud. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Correct. Okay. So right now these are intended for Business Central in the cloud. Adam, if this is a need that you have, we could certainly work with you directly to get this set up for on-premise NAV 2017 as well. Let's see, Colin, I had another question about does TrinSoft have the ability to customize these reports to be specific to the client's needs?
So right now these are being sold as is, but we can work with anybody to form a quote to get some custom work done.
Right. So essentially, we can take any of these reports, and if they have a specific modification or change that's needed, we can certainly do that with them if needed. Let's see if there's any other questions. So again, if you have a question, drop that into the Q&A. We'll get that answered for you along the way. Colin, really appreciate you taking the time to drive us through that webinar. It's certainly very helpful.
Of course.
All right, so we'll hang on for another minute. If there's any other questions, we'll be sure and address those. While we wait to see if anyone's typed any other questions, a couple of next steps. For those of you who are interested in these report packs, easy for me to say, reach out to our TrinSoft team right away. Or if you have any other needs around your organization's usage of Power BI, whether that's the need to build a dashboard or help with data capture or help with data connectors, data cleaning or report design, just reach out, let us know. Our team, Colin, Nicholas, and the team are happy to engage and help the team with Power BI usage. We are very big fans of Power BI here at TrinSoft, so we would be happy to engage with your team and help with that. Secondly, give TrinSoft a follow. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Twitter. Check out our website, TrinSoft.com. We have a blog that we're constantly updating with new posts, new content on a regular basis. So, all right, I don't see any other questions. So with that, I'll just say thank you guys for your time on the webinar today. Colin, thank you for helping guide us through these new TrinSoft report packs. And if you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out, and we look forward to moving forward with each of you. Thanks. Have a great day.